All right, at a baseball game, Doug has $12 to spend on popcorn and peanuts. The peanuts are $4 and the popcorn is $2. The function 4x plus 2y equals 12 describes the amount of peanuts x and popcorn y he can buy if he spends all his money. The function is graphed below. We need to find the intercepts. So if you look here, we have a graph. X is the bag of peanuts and the y-axis is representing the boxes of popcorn. So right here, our x-intercept is at 3. So that means that the graph crosses the x-axis at 3 equals 0. Okay, so that means the x-intercept is equal to 3, which means 3 x bags of peanuts for 0 boxes of popcorn. So I'll have 3 bags of peanuts and no popcorn. So that means that the x-intercept, what does the x-intercept mean? The x-intercept 3 is the amount of peanuts Doug can buy if he buys no popcorn. So he can buy 3 bags of peanuts if he buys no popcorn. That's what that x-intercept means. Now let's go ahead and look at the y-intercept. So I think it's pretty clear that the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, which is right here at 6. So the graph crosses the y-axis at 0, 6. So that means that the y-intercept is 6. I love to look at the point because x is bags of peanuts. So that means there's 0 bags of peanuts for 6 boxes of popcorn because 6 is referring to the y. So basically, if you can't buy any peanuts, you don't buy any peanuts and you can buy 6 boxes of popcorn. That's really what it means. So if we write it down, the y-intercept of 6 is the amount of popcorn Doug can buy if he buys no peanuts. So that's how you interpret the x and the y-intercept. Let's go ahead and look at another one so we can really look at this interpretation of the x and the y-intercept. So we have this problem. This problem is referring to a volleyball team is traveling to a game 120 miles away. Their average speed is 40 miles an hour. The graph line here describes the distance left to travel at any point during the trip. Okay, so the distance left to travel. So let's see, when we start, and time is down here with the x at 0, that means that we still have 120 miles left to travel. But what happens as time goes, just like when you're on a road trip, right? As time goes, that you get closer and closer to your destination. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the intercepts, and then we're going to talk about what does each intercept represent. So let's go ahead and talk about the x-intercept first. So the x-intercept would be, do you see it? It would be 3. This is the x-intercept. So that means that the x-intercept is equal to 3, which is the 0.30, right? So that means in 3 hours, right? I love this with the x and the y. The x is talking about the time, right? So 3 hours, 0, that means the distance left was 0 miles left. So that really means they arrived at their destination in 3 hours. So the interpretation of this is the time it took to complete the trip. That makes sense, right? So there we have it. We have our x-intercept, we have the point, and we have the interpretation. It just is talking about the time it took to complete the trip. Okay, let's talk about the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, do you see it? It's at 120, right there. So our y-intercept is equal to 120, which is the point 0, 120. And I just love that because this is the x, right? This is the y, so that means x is 0, so time is 0. So time hasn't even started, and they are 120 miles away from their destination. So the interpretation of this is the number of miles left to travel. All right, there's our y-intercept. There's our interpretation. All right, that is it for this lesson. I'll see you next time for lesson 3.